Good morning. How's it going? Welcome, folks. This is your favorite sorcerer, Aurelius Sopax. It's Sunday morning. I'm having a coffee and beginning my day. I just got up and I was once again inspired to do another video. In this video, I want to talk about spells, feedback loops, and why you need to take them into consideration and why most people fail with a lot of their occult aspirations, their magic, and all these things, right? Okay, so we live inside of inside of an invisible energy field, all right? Constantly throughout the day, you're moving through an invisible world of energy, and your aura, your own energy field, is of course also energy. It's an energy field, obviously, right? So think about what you had for dinner in on August 15th, 2010. It's very hard to remember, right? Like, I would say there's a close to 100% chance that you have no fucking idea what you ate back then. Even 2010, even if you track your macros and all that shit, right? Like, but without taking notes on that, you have no chance of remembering what you had for dinner in 2010 in August. Right? No idea. So what I'm trying to say is essentially that we live in an invisible world of energy where we're constantly sending out energies through our actions. We're creating energy vectors into a specific direction. The point is, though, that the curve of remembering of what we did goes down extremely fast. Okay, so you're probably going to be able to remember what you had for dinner yesterday, but what you did before, meaning the curve of remembering that, is going to go down very, very fast. The problem with or a fact that is part of this whole process is that every action causes a reaction. Okay, so the energy vectors that you might have sent out a while ago, but you long forgotten, will or can, or I mean, they will for sure, but it's hard to predict when they will return back to you. Okay. On top of that, the curve of those things returning to you are a little bit different. They're exponential. Okay, so imagine a smoker. That guy smokes cigarettes for 20 years, and for 20 years he doesn't see anything, and no changes. But each of those cigarettes smoked are one energy vector into the direction of cancer. And then after 20 years, it all hits at once, boom, and the feedback loop of cancer hits him. His lungs are fucked, and many other things as well, right? So what you have to understand is that everything that you do will in some way or another cause a feedback loop. Okay, so the first consequence out of that is that you should ideally only put out the energies that you would want to come back to you. Okay, the feedback. This is where ethics come into play. Ethics, first of all, what are ethics? Ethics are different from morals. Morals are something that is I mean, the etymology of the word morals comes from customs. Okay, morus, the Latin word morus means customs. So there are different customs in each group, each organization, civilization, and so on and so forth. So if you were part of the Mongols, your morals were, if you don't pillage, if you don't steal, if you don't grape, you're not a good Mongol, because that's what they would do. That's kind of like a part of their customs, or was back then. Now, ethics is something personal. That's a level higher, and that's something that you impose upon yourself. And these are rules of how you behave, how you do things, And it is extremely important that you keep a high ethical standard in your life. Why? This has nothing to do with trying to be like a good person or any of that. Being a good person is the consequence of having a high ethical standard, because you don't want this shit to come back to you. And this is what a lot of people, for example, in the left-hand path don't understand. That karma is a real force, but it's not well explained, because people sometimes explain karma in terms of these, fairy tales, everything's going to come back to you 3 times and so on and so forth. No, karma is a real thing. And it's simply cause and effect. Okay, so the energies that you put out are going to come back to you. This is why you should maintain a high ethical standard in your life, because if you don't, you will be hit by the feedback that you caused yourself. So it is very, very advised, in my opinion, to put out energies that you would want to have, energies into the direction that you will want to have. Okay, so one of the rules that you could use is, for example, if I was in that situation, or if I was this other person, how would I want to be treated at this point? That's always a good guideline. Okay, very important to keep in mind. So karma is just feedback. That's why you need a high ethical standard. This is also why you want to make sure that people around you have a high ethical standard. I have no friends and nobody in my energy connections that doesn't have a high ethical standard. Because if they show signs of it, they're cut off right away. Because I don't want to be, listen, everything's interconnected. It's a system. It has ripple effects. And I don't want to be hit by their karma. I don't want to be affected by their negative feedback loops, you see. It's purely self-interest. Any organization that I run, people come into programs. I run organizations outside of this as well. Of course, they have nothing to do with magic. But let's say new students that start to come into my field, and they start to study with me and they learn from me. They're always, I heard this from a couple of people. Wow, the people in your group are so, like, they're so ethical. They're so clean. The communication is so clear. Everything flows top down very clearly. And there's none of this bullshit that you find in other groups. None of this, ego driven bullshit where people start fights or live out their psychoses and all that stuff. That doesn't exist in my groups. And that's a reflection of me, because I run them in a certain way, and people will reflect that. People in my field reflect that. And I have no problem to cut people out. I still do that regularly. So the point is, that is also, by the way, connected to loyalty, of course. You want loyalty as well. Loyalty just means that you you feed back power to those who gave you power. You understand? This is what most people in this world act like vampires. They run through the world, and when they see something that they want to have, they try to take it. They try to extract that. So, for example, you see this in business a lot, okay? So you see a person, they see someone who has a lot of contacts. What they're trying to do is they try to steal those contacts away, like a vampire or something like that, right? Well, that's actually a very stupid thing to do. Because when we're looking at the universe, the things that are visible are 0.03%. That's actually a fact in physics. I'm not completely sure if it's that exact number, but it's tiny. It's less than 0.0% of the things that exist can be seen. So that means that 99.9 something percent of things that exist can't be seen with the eyes, the physical eyes, with the physical senses. So my question to you is then, just because you can't see something, does that mean it doesn't exist? Well, you would be a fool to believe that, right? But a lot of people live their lives based on that. And they don't analyze the feedback that they get from this invisible universe, which is actually the majority of what exists. You're dealing with an energy universe, or a universe of energy, and primarily an invisible universe, in which you're constantly causing these things, and then you get the feedback, you're hit by the feedback, and you don't analyze what you did. Most of the time, you forgot what you did, and the feedback comes back to you, and you wonder where that comes from. You're essentially blind to what's going on. Now, so the person thinks that they can just steal that away and everything's fine. Now, first of all, what you see is the top of the iceberg. Most of it, what caused that person to have those contacts in the first place, is not visible to you. All the invisible energetic vectors that they planted, these seeds that he planted, to now reap the reward and the feedback of having a high quality network. You see? That's the first thing. Secondly, acting like that in the world is really stupid, because you're at this place because of your connection to someone. So most people, when they have been helped up to a certain level, they then try to, like, they think, oh, I'm at this level now, I don't need this person anymore, so they cut them off, or they try to cut them off, or try to go their own way, or try to pretend it's their own, or something like that. That's stupid, because that person helped you get to this level. And now your job is, how it's done correctly, is you need to feed energy back. You need to feed power back to the person that got you to where you are. And then this energy flow will continue, and it's going to become a positive feedback loop. It's like it's a positive energy loop, or a feedback loop. So you give energy, energy comes back, and both of you are going to pull each other higher. That's how this actually works. This is how you're supposed to interact in the world. You're not supposed to forget the people in your past that are supposed to help you. I see that a lot with, like, in all areas of my life, I see that happening constantly, where people that I helped are not loyal. And what's going to happen to those people is they're sooner or later, they're going to crash and burn, of course. This is why loyalty is also very, very important in my groups. We help each other. We don't forget our own. We take care of our own, but we expect the same back, you see. It's an invisible energy field that we're all connecting through, and you have to take that into account. This is how you live correctly, you know. Loyalty is in itself an extremely, extremely valuable thing. Now, as you can see, feedback loops, energy, invisible energy lines, and all that stuff, that goes very deep. It explains a lot of things in life and what these things mean, you know. Today, in 2025, a lot of people think things like honor, loyalty, and all these things are outdated. I promise you they're not, okay? Honor, loyalty, bravery, all of these things are just as important as they were in the Middle Ages, when you had like fucking knights roam around, or throughout all of history. Nothing has changed, okay? Except every new generation in civilization thinks that they are smarter than the previous ones, which is obviously not the case. And today, a lot of people are really confused, right? But I'm old school. I'm not that old. I'm 40. I'm an 80s baby. But in that regard, I'm old school. Loyalty, honor, bravery, all of these things are extremely important values that you, in my opinion, need to have in order to succeed. And success is not everything. Success is important, but success is a byproduct of something else. If you want sustainable success, success is just the byproduct of an invisible infrastructure that you create through your daily actions, through the plants that you seed, through the seed that you plant, And sooner or later, the feedback's going to come back. You get what I'm saying? But you can't pull the plant out of the soil. You have to plant the seed. You have to water the plant. That ties back into a video that I did yesterday, where I talked about cycles. You can't pull the rice out of the ground. You understand? You have to plant the seed. You have to water it. You have to let it develop its network of roots. It gets the the nutrients, and then eventually it will grow at the right time. And this is how it works with everything. What you should spend your day doing is putting energy deposits into the direction and relationships that you want to have. You see? The universe will not respond to your intent, to your desire in this second, in this moment. Oh, I want this. Boom. That's not how it happens. It's the feedback that you get. Your day to day, your life circumstances and everything is in some way or another the accumulation of feedback, of energy seeds or energy vectors that you planted in the past. So this is how you have to see your life. It's an invisible network of energy that you can design through your code of conduct, through your ethics, through your behavior. Ethics, once again, let me go back into that. Ethics are rules of behavior on how you handle things in alignment with your principles, values, and all that stuff. See, when the situation gets stressful, when it's the heat in the moment, it's often easier to do things in a way that are whatever, maybe not the best, or they look like you have the upper hand in that moment. Oh yeah, that person, I could take advantage of them. I'm going to take advantage of them because who gives a fuck, right? That's short-term thinking. Because I guarantee you, this energy that you just created will return back to you in the same form or stronger, in which you're going to be in the same situation and somebody else is going to fuck you up in the same way. It's just what it is. Test it. Everything that I'm saying, I'm not expecting you to just blindly take in. I want you to test what I'm saying. I want you to test what I'm saying, because the truth can be tested and can be validated, and I'm telling you the truth. So you're going to be in a similar situation like that if you act like that in the same way. Now, in that moment, if you don't have an ethical code, I guarantee you, or not guarantee you, but most likely you're going to do something that is not in your own best interest. So your ethical code is mainly principles that you follow on how you treat others, how you handle situations, and so on and so forth. And in that moment, it might not be the most comfortable thing. It might not be the most intuitive thing to do. But you stick to your ethics, because this ethical code protects you. It's a spiritual protection. The way you do these things is codified in alignment with your principles, values, your daemon, and all that stuff, and that protects you from the negative feedback loop in the future that will fucking destroy people. Always. People are constantly destroyed by the feedback loops that they create. You see? Constantly. And we have to take that into account. That's why ethics are very important. And I promise you, the higher you go in any area of society, of life, when it comes to business, yeah, the low-level people, the maggots, they have zero ethics. Yeah, they fuck each other over for nothing, But that's why they're low-level people. You understand? As you rise up, you start dealing with multimillionaires, billionaires, all that stuff. These people are highly ethical. I know this is probably not the pop culture image, right? Where you're only shown kind of like the outliers, the billionaires on sex parties and the sex trafficking and all that shit, and but this is a sensational image. I'm gonna have to talk about the media and how they influence people's perception of reality in another video, right? But the bottom line is, I guarantee you, the higher you go at all levels, when it comes to magic, when it comes to power, period, the more ethical people become. It's almost as if there's like a self-protection mechanism in the universe, where this game of life, this game of reality, prevents you from reaching certain levels unless you understood this. I have my theories about why that is, and so on and so forth, but that's not something I'm gonna talk about here. But the point is, this is a game with rules. The universe is based on rules. It's an invisible energy field. You're moving and interacting with this invisible energy field constantly. And one of those rules are, if you create energy vectors that you would not want to be hit by, it will break you in the future, because they will come back. And sometimes accumulated like a boomerang. It's going to come back, you see. So this is why you need an ethical code. And this is why you need to be loyal and follow other things, right? I train people on exactly that in the Infinite Initiation System and my order. I teach people on how to build a character that includes those things. It's very important. It's very important. It's a foundation. Now, how to get your spells work. That was actually the original intention of this video. Feedback loops and how to get your spells to work. See? So let's talk about an example. Somebody has the intention of doing a money spell. Or let's say a love spell. Let's talk about a love spell, right? And they intend to call upon a spirit and send it out to bring them a lover or something like that, right? Good. All right. Now, what is going on there, energetically speaking? The person has their own energy field with a certain structure. They're calling a spirit. And the spirit is directed towards, I want love. Create that feedback loop, that consequence, action, reaction. Create the reaction of having a lover. So first of all, energy is required. Energy needs to be sent into the direction. That's the cause. The cause is the spirit is sent out. What the person is wanting to get is the effect of having a specific person or a lover of their design, if that makes sense. Okay. Well, yeah. Now this is one energy vector. Most people don't even know how to put a lot of energy into this thing, because they think it's just make a wish type of thing in the universe, where you just tell the spirit, okay, bring me that, and poof, like fucking Aladdin and the lamp, things just come like, that's not how it works. You should understand that the effect has to be caused by a cause that has the necessary amount of energy in it, right? So energy and the amount of boom that you put behind the spell is extremely important. That's number one. But people don't even get that. Number two, here's the thing. The person is not a clean slate. Imagine a young woman, 25 years old. Every relationship that she's in, she starts sabotaging. She either sabotages it to the point she abuses the guy to the point that he just leaves and doesn't want anything to do with her, or she, for some reason, needs to break up right now. I don't know, I can't do this anymore. And that's a pattern in her life. She keeps doing that. She doesn't know where that comes from. Now, the same girl, when she was very young, when she was 5 years old, she had a little puppy. And she was in love with that puppy. This puppy was her whole world, and that puppy died. Got run over by a truck. This was such a painful experience for this little girl that in that moment she vowed, I will never love anything ever again, because losing it is too painful. The risk of losing this thing that I love is just too great. So that created a belief, a negative belief, which with a lot of energy stored in it, that is actively in her mind, in her subconscious, working against love. So whenever she starts feeling, oh, I could fall in love with this guy, or whenever she's in a similar situation, this activates and actively works against the relationship working. So when it gets activated, she acts in a way that it sabotages the relationship. And that's a program in her subconscious activating. It's an energy vector. Let's say love and relationships and all that stuff is in this direction. This energy vector is contradictory to that, and it's working against it. And it's creating this tension and inner conflict that will express itself in her lashing out at the guy, criticizing him. I can't stand the way you're chewing. I can't stand the way you're chewing. You see? This is where all this bullshit comes from, you know? This is where all this bullshit comes from. Now, I'm not saying that guys don't have issues like that. Of course, obviously, like everybody has issues, you know? The point is, let's stick to the example of the girl. Now, unless she resolves that, nothing's going to happen. So this woman now, after fucking 15 failed relationships, a horrible love life, it's a fucking wreck, it's love lives in ruins, now decides to do a spell. Or whatever, right? Let's say she finds a book, or like, for some reason she finds the way. She most likely she's not even going to have the skills to do the spell, right? Because very few people can actually do a spell that works. But let's assume she has all that skill, all of those skills. This is one energy into the direction of getting that. Now, mind you, most people don't have one negative belief or one energy vector that is working against what they consciously want. It's usually between 200 and 1,000. There are a lot of them. Now, I know how to resolve them, of course. They're not even that hard to resolve, if that makes sense. But it takes the bravery to confront that situation, and then the energy is released, right? But the point is, what's going to happen most likely is, yes, the spirit is going to present that opportunity and the person's still going to fuck it up. They're still going to fuck it up. It's that guy. You wanted this guy. This guy, you see that? You wanted this guy. That's joking. So you wanted that guy. That guy is fucking in front of you. And you're still not going to take advantage of that. You're going to be like, I don't know, no. Well, I'm not going to make the first step. You're a stupid bitch. That's what you are. Stupid. You're using... So the spirit is just going to waste his fucking time and energy. And the woman is, of course, not going to get what she wants because she didn't take the opportunity because she didn't fix her mind first, you see. That's what I'm trying to say. Feedback loops, spells. Before you do anything, you should make sure that the things in yourself, in your own mind, in your own fucking invisible energy field are not working against what you want. You're working against yourself. People blame spirits, people blame society, people blame this and that and the other when they fuck themselves up all the time. You see? So the first thing that you should do is you should clear out yourself. You should clean yourself. You should live a clean life. Ethical. You should have clear ethical rules. You should get rid of the baggage of your past. And that alone, man, that alone. Do you know how much energy you're going to have back? How much more things are going to go in your favor because you're not constantly being held back by these feedback loops and these energy vectors that are pulling you into the opposite direction or a different direction than what you consciously want. That alone, I promise you, is going to change everything. All right? And then on top of that, magic, where you have this plethora of tools, entities, spirits, ways of using the elements, planetary forces to increase your conscious will, your life is going to blossom for sure. But you have to go within first, you see. And this is something that is almost never talked about. Like I don't think I've ever heard this from anyone than myself. And I tell you what, because I had fantastic teachers. And that's why I am a fantastic teacher, as within, so without, my friends. There's a lot more to say than that. However, I think I got my message across. I went a little bit into different topics, but they're all connected, as you can see, right? And today, Sunday, what do I have to do? I'm going to plant seeds into the direction of what I want. Little energy seeds. That's how you should see your life, you see. The feedback loop is going to arrive. Today I'm going to meet with a trainer. I'm going to lift some weights. I'm going to study. I'm going to have to prepare for a new business that I'm starting with a friend from Florida. And, studying. Not too much social stuff going on today. I'm meeting with my students today online. I'm going to train them. And that's what I'm going to do, right? And maybe I should do some videos. Let me know in the comments. Maybe the audience is international or more international. Now, English obviously is the international language, but my first language is not English. It's actually German. So if you want me to do Videos in German, let me know. If you want me to do Videos in French. Also wenn ich Videos auf Deutsch machen soll oder sowas, ja, und es genug Leute gibt, die das interessiert, na ist klar, dass das nicht sehr viele Deutsche oder Leute, die Deutsch sprechen, das hier schauen werden. Einfach weil ich glaube, der Markt ist einfach zu klein. Aber wenn es genug Leute sind, dann kann ich die Videos auch auf Deutsch machen oder also das Ganze ein bisschen anders erklären. Ja. S'il y a beaucoup de personnes qui parlent français, qui voudraient avoir quelques vidéos en français, je peux le faire aussi. Dis-moi si ça t'intéresse. Voilà. Et good. I'm going to wrap it up here. And I'm going to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.